We are about ready to make Hattie. We have spent the whole week getting ready for this by tracing all of the simple shapes and putting them into the scan and cut and being able to cut out the fabric pieces and then saving that FCM file from the scan and cut up to the Brother canvas, and then renaming all the pieces so that we can find them when we need them. What you see on the screen right now is what we're after for a final embroidery file. I am choosing to use the blanket stitch. You can certainly use the satin stitch if you want to, but I'm going to change mine to the blanket stitch. If you're new to my channel, one of my favorite methods to create quilt applique is to scan in the pattern into the scan and cut and then import the file created by the scan and cut into a software called BES4 Dream Edition, or you can use a module of BES4 called Simply Applique that you can buy separate from BES4. It's a little bit less expensive. You get the exact same process that I am going to show you here. So this is the final outcome of what we are aiming for. Let's get started and make Hattie. The size of this entire design is a little bit bigger than 10.5 and almost 9. So you need quite a large hoop in order to be able to make this design. So I'm going to create a brand new tab. Up here on the top, I'm going to click this little icon. It looks like a white piece of paper with the corner folded over, or you can click here and go to new. There's two different ways you can get to it, whichever you want to do. I have a brand new screen right here that we can start working with. So up here in the top, I'm going to click on this icon right up here. If you're in Simply Applique, you'll click on this little button right here and you'll scroll down to Import FCM. Remember, the FCM is the file that's created by the Brother Scan and Cut. It's brought me to the Chicks folder, which is fine. I don't need that one right now. So I'm going to come over here to this little yellow icon, and there's a green up arrow. I'm going to touch it, and I'm going to scroll down to Hattie. If you would like to see how I got all of these folders built and everything, I will link to the video right up here where you can take a look at that. I'm going to click on Hattie, and I'm going to click Open. Now in here, there are a couple of different files. If you choose to only scan those pieces that you need for that particular week during the sew along, and you scan them all in at one time on one piece of paper, then you would have a file that looks like this. If you cannot see the images that you would like, click up here on this view menu and hit the little down arrow and make sure it's either extra large icons or large icons. It might look like this, and then you'll think, well, my screen doesn't look like hers. That's because the view on yours is a little bit different. Just click that and go to large icons, and then you'll be able to see like exactly what I have. So if you scanned in just the pieces for Hattie, you would choose this particular document right here and click Open, and it will import like that. Let me open a new document, and I want to show you if you scan them in multiples. I'm going to go to Import FCM just like before, and I'm going to choose this next file. Remember, I needed M3, which is on this one. This is M1 through 4, 13, 21, and 36. There's no rhyme or reason. I just happened to trace those on that paper, and then I put them all in together. And then this one is M6, 11, 12, 17, 35. Again, no rhyme or reason. That's just how they did it. I happen to be watching 1883 and I was tracing all my shapes. That's how that happened. From this one, I need M3. I'm going to click it and click Open. This is M3 right here. I'll click off. I'll grab this one, bring it down here, and I will highlight all of these and click delete. And now I have M3 set off to the side. Let's say I need the wing for M17. I'm going to go File, Import FCM. I have not opened a new document. Let me grab this one and bring it in. This is M17 right here. I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to move this up here so I don't delete what I don't want to delete. Okay, and I'm just going to highlight all of these and hit delete. And continue to do that to build the chicken with all of the shapes that you need. All right, so I'm going to build Hattie like this right now. There are other pieces we need to bring in. We need to bring in the feet, and we need to put it all together and then bring in the chick. So I do want to bring in the feet, and I will link to the video right up here to tell you how I did the feet. Now, the feet I made as a working BRF file so that I could manipulate them as I wanted. I'm going to go up here to Open. And when I scroll down, I'm looking for chickenfeet.brf. That is the working file. You can see them right here. I'm going to click Open. And it opens in a new document, which is fine. I'm going to click on it over here in the sequence view, and I'm going to come over here on the screen and right-click, copy, come back over here to the chicken and right-click and paste. So there are my feet. Now I want to take the artwork. I've got the feet already identified as heel, toe 1, toe 2, and leg. Second heel, second toe 1, second toe 2, second leg. I want to highlight artwork, which is the body. I'm going to hold down the shift key and scroll down to the last one. We have not named these yet. I'm going to grab it by the picture, and I'm going to drag it below the second leg. And that's going to move them all the way down in the sequence view. What this sequence view is right here tells the embroidery machine what to stitch first. So we want the feet to stitch first so that the body goes over the top of the feet. I'm going to highlight the feet by highlighting the heel, hit my shift key, and highlight the second leg, and I'm going to drag those over here for right now and out of the way. I'm going to take the body, and I'm going to come up to the Arrange tab, and I want to rotate left 90 degrees. Okay? When you want to scroll around on your mat, you would want to use these sidebar arrows, or this, you can drag it. It's better to use the arrows in the bars by just hovering over them, and your arrow will show up. I'm going to come up here. Okay. I want to take the comb, and I'm going to bring the comb over here, and do not mess with these handles and change the size. You want everything to remain exactly as it is as far as the size, because if you've already cut your pieces, you need your pieces to fit. Essentially, what we're playing with right here is the placement line. It's going to become the placement line. Right now, it is the cut line. That is what an FCM file is a cut line, and we've brought it in. You can use the little blue dots. Those are rotate. I'm going to rotate this, and I'm going to put it right about there. Maybe I'll rotate it a little bit so it's not so straight up and down. That looks really good. This, let's highlight it. It's right down here. This is the comb. So while my arrow is over artwork, I'm going to right-click, rename, and I'm going to type comb. Okay, and this one right here, right-click, rename, body. And here is the wing. I'm going to right-click, rename, wing. All right, that's good. I'm going to move it right up here, and I'm going to rotate it. That's about how it looks in the picture, in the pattern. And then this wattle, I want this right here. According to the picture for Hattie, that wattle is almost straight up and down. So let's put it just like this, so that that point is right on that line. I think that that will look fine. Maybe I'll just rotate this just a little bit, and I'm going to move it just a little bit farther back here. Make sure it's not touching these tail feathers at all, but I think that that's fine. Each one of these little pink squares on my grid is 1/2 inch, and if yours is not, I should have told you this earlier, I apologize. Go up to the View tab and click that, and come over to Preferences, and you want to click on the Grid tab, and for the horizontal and vertical, you want it to be 0.5 on both of these, and then I have 10 for every one that is in one of the blue squares. So, and then you can change, or the purple, you can change your lines to be any color that you want, and I like to show my grid as dashed lines, and then click OK. All right, so that gives me an idea. If I look at the picture, it looks like there's, I don't know, 1/4 inch, not quite 1/2 inch between the wattle and the wings, so that's about right. Let's talk about some feet. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to take this little short piece right here, and I believe that is toe 2. Let me see. Yep, toe 2. I want to right click on it, highlight just toe 2, right click, copy, come over here, right click, paste. It pasted right on top of it. Grab it and bring it up here. Right click, paste, and grab it and bring it up here. Highlight this one, right click, rename, beak 1, and then this, rename, beak 2. Okay, I want to take these, grab them both, right click, copy, right click, paste. It pasted right on top of itself. I'm going to call this right click, rename, chick beak 1, right click, rename, chick beak 2. Very good. So we'll just leave these right over here for now. I want to take this one, I want to rotate it, and I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to take this one and put it, I want to rotate it, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit by rolling my wheel on my mouse and make that just a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. So now my chicken has a beak. Let's look at the sequence view and make sure we've got this right. So my legs and my feet are going to go down first. I need the beak to go down before the body, which is right here. So I want beak 1 and beak 2, grab the picture. I'm going to bring it up underneath the one I want it to stitch after. So I want it to stitch after the second leg, and then it's going to stitch the beak, and then it's going to stitch this part of the beak. I also want the comb to stitch after. The comb can stitch after beak 2, so that the comb goes down before the chicken, then the body, then the wing. Here's the wattle. Let me right click, rename. There we go. That's great. Okay, this looks really good. I'm going to move this comb just a little bit higher to make more room for the eye. Let me take her legs. I'm going to, sometimes if they're hard to grab, you can just highlight it over here. Hold down the Shift key to select everything in between the two, and I'm going to bring these over here. Okay, and I think that this one needs to be, whoop, I think, okay. And then this heel to second leg, I'm going to bring it down and over just a little bit like this. And then leg 2, I want to make that just a little bit longer so that it's up underneath the body. There. You can sit and fiddle with this all day long. All right, so now let's talk about the chick. I'm going to come back up to File, Import FCM. I'm going to go up one level because right now I'm at Hattie. And I'm going to go to the chicks. And I'm going to bring those in. This chick is facing the right way as is, so I'm going to grab it. I'm going to bring it up here. Let me rotate it. Let me get this piece right here out of the way for right now. I'm going to put it right about there. And the wing, I'm going to turn it around. Put it right here. And the little beak. You don't really have to change the size of these little ones. You can just kind of tuck them a little further up underneath if you want. There, that looks great. Okay, now that we have all of our applique, now that we have the applique design set exactly like I want it, now is when the magic happens. And so I am going to click Control A on my keyboard for Select All. I'm going to come up to the Tools tab right up here at the top, and there's the button, Convert to Applique. Click it. Ta-da! It is all a large applique now. Everything has been put into where it has a placement stitch, a tack down line, and a final satin stitch. But as I said at the beginning of the video, I want to make it into a blanket stitch. So I am going to Control A again to select all. And over here in the properties box on the right, we have applique type and satin, and I am going to hit the drop down and I'm going to go to blanket. And then I'm going to come down here and click apply. Now the entire design has converted itself so that it's using a blanket stitch. I am going to highlight this one. I'm going to hold down my control key. Let me scroll down here. And I want to get all the way down to this last one. Okay. And then I also want, so I've got the beaks for beak 1 and beak 2. I don't have the chick beak. I need to do that as well. Hold down the control key and select those. All right. So the feet and the beaks are all selected now, and in the blanket stitch you can go to stitch length. It's at 2.0. I want to change it to 1.5, and the width is 3.5, and I want to change it to 2.0, and I'm going to click apply. And you can see it got much smaller. Let me scroll in here so you can see. It got much smaller. If you want these closer together, you can change the stitch length to like 1.0 and 1.5 and click apply. And you can see they got even smaller still. So this looks really good. Okay, now it is time to put eyes on our fowl here. So I'm going to go to the A and click text and choose normal. Put my cursor there. Now I'm in siblings. I'm going to touch the period on the punctuation and then choose select. All right, there it is. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move it right here on my chicken. I'm going to scroll in and make it bigger. It's weird the way that does that, but that looks real good. That's a good full dot that I can use for an eye. So that looks good. This says text. I'm going to rename it to Hattie I. All right. I'm going to right click, copy, right click, paste. I'm going to move it right here. I'm going to rename Chick Eye. Okay. And I want to make it just a little bit smaller because he's a little bit smaller than the mama. That looks pretty good. I like it. And now I need to do another one. If you are not going to digitize the legs using the Brother Luminaire, or you don't want to use your sewing machine, these lightning bolt stitch on your sewing machine, you can use a font in here if you can find one that works. So I'm going to click on the text again and go to normal and put my cursor anywhere on the screen. And like, for instance, this particular font has an I in the name of it. So I can see it kind of curves in a little bit, so I could use that. You want to find an I that does not have the capital letter I, that does not have any type of serif on it, which is, it's got the bottom and, or it might have a line across the top as well. You want something that's more of a block type font will work. So because I'm in Siblings, if I was to type the capital I, and it did that right over here, and then I can just hit select, and there it is right there. I can go in, zoom in a little bit. I'm going to come up here and take a look at this. I can see how it kind of curves when you click on it. You can see it curves just a little bit, but it leaves room. It has handles here to make it very skinny if you want. And you can also change the height. So I could grab this and bring this over and put it right here. And I could right click, copy, right click, paste, and it's right on top of it. I could put it right here, and then I could rotate it. So that would give me my little leg there. You might want to change the length so that it's not too long, but I think that would work. Rename. I want chick leg 1, and right click, rename chick leg 2. You also want to take both of these, hold down the control key, grab the picture, and move it up so that it stitches before the body. I'm going to put it before the comb. There. So all of the chicken parts stitch at the same time. So this looks really good. I like it. I think this is going to look just fine. I think we're probably ready to save it and then go over to the Luminaire and stitch it out. I like this. You need to know the embroidery file format that your embroidery machine uses. So I'm going to come up here and go on the B or the A. I will go save as, and I'm going to come to Hattie, and I'm going to type Hattie finished, and I'm going to, I could save the BRF file here so that it is still a working file, and then I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm Hattie finished, and now I'm going to hit the drop down arrow to change it from paste set or outline files, and you need to find the file for your home embroidery machine, and I'm just going to click this. That's going to turn it into a PES file, and I'm going to click Save. The current design does not fit in the hoop. Do you still want to continue? Yes, I didn't tell it what hoop to use, so it's fine. I know that I need to use the great big hoop, and I'm just going to tell it yes. Now, the reason it's not fitting in this, if I was to Control A to select all, I could come up to Arrange, and I'm going to rotate left 90, and there you are. And if you want to put it in a hoop, you can come to the Home tab, and you can choose your hoop and select hoop. And I'm going to choose the big one for the XP2 10 by 16. I made that. You can add a new one, and I put that on there, and I'm going to click apply and OK. And now I know that my chick and chicken are going to fit inside that hoop. All right, so in the next video, we're going to stitch out Miss Hattie.